Sup everyone, Darkscream217 here. With me are two guests, LanceEchidna
What's up, guys?
and Windzer321.
Yo.
And today we're going to do an extensive, somewhat spoiler discussion of an anime adaptation of a video game franchise that we all just kind of got into on the same year that this OVA got released. And that would be, if you can't tell from the title or description, that would be Corpse Party Tortured Souls, which is based off of two PSP games that are actually out currently in the US. You can download them on your PS Vita. That's how I was able to play them. I completed the first Corpse Party game, but I'm still in the middle of Book of Shadows, so no spoilers there, please, if you go into comments on such a thing. But yeah, I am a fan of the franchise, and this was one of the things. This was one of the things I was looking forward to in this season of anime that was coming out. Um, I gotta
Oh
say,
yeah, me too, man.
yeah, I gotta say, and here's my quick summation before we start going into more detailed things. But my thoughts were that the anime overall, it for 4 episodes, it obviously goes at a real breakneck speed that I'm not really used to from compared to the games. And they make a lot of changes from the games that we'll probably go into. But that being said, this was still a pretty enjoyable OVA series as a fan of Corpse Party. And if you're like into stuff like gory stuff like Elfen Lied, Gantz, Berserk, or anything like that, and you're into something that's a little dark and disturbing and full of horror and people getting brutalized in this anime, I do highly recommend you checking this out. Hopefully, it gets licensed and released by some company, preferably not Aniplex, because even though it'll be 4 episodes, one DVD, they'll charge it for $60.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe NIS. I could probably go without a dub on this one since I'm really used to Japanese voice cast. Would you two thought of it? You could, Windsor, you can start.
Well, I've only seen the original. I don't know how much changes with each individual adaptation, so a lot of this caught me off guard.
Hmm.
It's just like, I'm guessing like all of them are going to be sort of different, almost pulling a Higurashi thing with each time there's a retelling. It goes horribly wrong in new ways because you got to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Less predictable, more blood.
Now, I don't know if they're going to do the same thing Higurashi is with a repeated cycle in the actual storyline. Um, I've seen that being a thing for most horror adaptations lately. It wasn't just Higurashi. There's some other things that did this, but I can't think of any at the top of my head at the moment. But one of the bad endings you could get in the first Course Party game is that Satoshi, the main character Satoshi, wakes up and it's the beginning of the school festival, but he knows what's going to happen, but he can't convince his friends to not go through with it. And the first chapter of Book of Shadows, even though it's from Naomi's perspective, you actually do see Satoshi in that same situation. So they may do a Groundhog Day loop as a mainstay thing, but like I said, not sure. Haven't finished Book of Shadows. I might be in chapter 4 or 5 at the moment. But Lance, you've been quiet. What were your thoughts on this OVA adaptation?
Man, I'll let you know right now. I was not ready when I saw this. Just like the anime, yeah, like I said, when I first saw the anime, yes, the plot moves really, really fast in his anime. So I'm like, oh, it's slowing down, but, but man, I gotta give it up, man. Like, when it comes to adaptations, I don't like changes. I prefer things to kind of be consistent, with the book or the game. But with this anime, I'm making an exception because some of the changes they made were just shocking and surprise. Some did piss me off a little bit, but I'm like I can see why they changed it because yeah, this is a horror, this is a horror anime, so you already know what's going to happen. They made some changes. I understand what, but they made some changes to kind of keep the audience on their they keep, give them something new.
Yeah, for the
So yes,
fans.
I'm pleased with the OVA.
Hmm. Okay, that being said, we can go into details about the stuff they did in this anime, and well, the plot is that a couple of friends at the same high school, can't remember what the name of the high school they attend to at the top of their
Oh,
heads.
oh, Kisaragi
Yeah,
Academy.
Kisaragi. Yeah, that's it. Kisaragi Academy. They it was like the night after, like right after the school festival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh, One of their friends like wanted to do this thing called the Sachiko Ever After charm, where they have like a little paper doll, like a little paper cutout doll. You probably seen this if you're like seeing a live anime with Mystic Elements. I know Negima had a paper doll shaped like thing that did some crazy stuff, and they were doing their little chant, and it was all just fun and games, shits and giggles, until 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 apparently they got trans until apparently it transported all the students and the teacher into this fucked up haunted school called Heavenly Host Academy, and shit just gets kind of fucked up there. From there, the first episode follows chapter one of the video game pretty closely. You play as Naomi, and her friend Seiko is around, and it ends the exact same way with Seiko getting hanged in the bathroom after an argument too. So yeah, that's the best way to end your life when you almost end your friendship.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's when episode two is when episode two in the middle of it, that's when the changes become a little more prominent, and
Hmm.
again I was completely caught off guard by a lot of things, even though I knew some of the stuff was going to happen. I knew this anime was going to be pretty gory. You really can't walk into
It's
this.
still,
You,
it still doesn't. Yeah,
you
you
gotta
already
love
know.
Blu.
Wait, what'd you say,
Yeah,
Jordan?
if you
I said you gotta love Blu-rays.
It was called Corpse Party for a
a
reason.
reason,
It's
Can't air
kind
man.
of
this on public as television.
no, dude. I don't know if they can make a no. They probably can't make a TV series out of this. If they do, they're gonna have to severely nerf it.
They're
And
gonna censor a crap ton of stuff. Yeah,
It'll be black screen anime.
everywhere, black screens everywhere.
yeah, just like the April Fools Adult Swim broadcasts of The Room, where they censor about like 70% of the screen. You only see like little bits and pieces, or maybe nothing at all. That would
Oh
be
god.
that would be Corpse Party. Um, anything else you guys want to add in? I mean, I don't have to be the one leading. You guys can interrupt me or anything like that. I am,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Just because I have the sexier mic doesn't mean I should be the leader.
Oh no, man, of
Mm.
course not. But yes, man, I just want to say, even if you did play the original Course Party, and we watched the OVA, it does not prepare you on how freaking gory this show was. Now, let's be completely honest. When before we even played the Course Party game, when you first saw it, in the PSN stores, like, oh, some kind of a visual novel game for the PSP. Some kind of horror. No, I've seen horror anime. It's not that big of it's not that big a deal. It's maybe a few like a little cutesy Scooby Doo like things, like Scooby Doo shenanigans going on in this game. But
Solid
no,
mystery.
no, it's shit is real in this, and so does the OVA. It's just, I mean, God, okay, okay, people listening to this, um, well, you already know this is going to have some minor spoilers, but I'm not going to say who. But yeah, a character in the games, this person ends up getting splattered. Like they get thrown across the room, down a hallway, and they hit a wall. But when they hit the wall, they freaking explode.
Like a
This
tomato.
like a freaking tomato. This OVA holds nothing back. Nothing is sacred in this in this OVA,
Like,
man. So
like, I mean, seriously, with like it being 8-bit originally, you just had to use your imagination in here, they take you places where your imagination wouldn't even thought to go.
No,
I'm like,
the
dude,
game.
even when I was playing this on the game, it was very disturbing. I'm like, whoa.
Like,
Okay. It's this kind of game. Okay.
yeah, what like the original game was set up to look like a 16-bit top-down sprite game that looks something similar to Final Fantasy VI, and technically the game looks like it could possibly run on a PlayStation 1. I'm also accounting for audio there as well, and even though it was sprite based, there were some pretty disturbing imagery, and sometimes it would cut to a visual novel drawing illustration of what's going on. But like I said, the first game was like you explore around sprite base, and it was still something really disturbing to look at. And
Oh god.
the other half of the charm is that sometimes you don't see what's going on. You just hear the stuff that's going on. You hear the stabbing noises and the cutting and and the shit like that. And I thought that would be most of the OVA, but nope, they actually decided to show that to me. And there was one particular scene, the big flashback scene that reveals who is the one responsible for all this. Even though, to be honest, the way they the way they presented it in the OVA made it not be such a big block twist at all. But when they showed the flashback of the kids who eventually become the ghosts getting tortured and killed, and I used to not be all flinchy when it comes to watching at least
Oh yeah.
cartoon, yeah,
Yeah.
cartoon anime violence. Like if you show like decapitated people spraying, getting decapitated, get their heads spraying full of blood and all that, I didn't mind, but when I was watching Corpse Party, man, it was like that episode of South Park where Kyle was watching The Passion of the Christ and he just kept flinching and freaking out and even close
Like,
to
oh god.
vomiting. That was pretty much me, that entire scene. I actually felt really sick. I felt really ill for about an hour after watching that. No,
Yeah,
no,
man.
no, no, no.
Yeah, man. That scene, it's very hard to watch. It is very hard, man. And I'll give it up to the voice actors in this OVA. They did a excellent job with the acting in this. It's just incredible. I, they ought to get some kind of reward for that, man. Seriously, because the way they acted, it felt real. It felt, wow, this is really happening right now,
Man, I hate you for
man.
introducing me to this franchise too. You're the one responsible for it.
You know what's even sad, man? When I told you about it, I
And
didn't
I
even play
helped
it myself.
catalyze it.
Like, yeah, like you two apparently knew about this before me. I was like, I had my PS Vita. I wanted to look for some games. I wanted to look for more visual novels since I liked Virtue's Last Reward. And then Lance is
Oh
like, "Oh
yeah.
man, you gotta check out Corpse Party. It's like all these Moe Blob characters getting brutally murdered in these really effed up situations." I'm like, "Really? Let me see. Oh, it's available digitally." And then I mentioned it to Windsor, and apparently you knew about this too, and you have done nothing to stop me.
Me. Yeah.
Let it
Yeah,
flow.
man. Yeah, but we
Let
all
the
knew about
dread
it. You were
flow
the first one
through.
out of us to play it.
Yeah, I was. Even though you guys knew about, it, I was the first to delve in, and then you played it, and you were like, "How did you play through this game?" I'm like, I don't know.
Dude, man, I couldn't even make it to the first chapter. I was so freaked out. I'm like, cause like I am, I'm not, that much. How can I put this? A coward, but man, but that first chapter, man, it's like the very first chapter he plays Naomi. Now Naomi and Seiko, when you go into that one room, you see this newspaper lying on the floor. You
Hmm.
go to look at it. It says, whatever you do, don't read the newspaper. I'm like, don't read it. Man, I ain't going out like a punk bitch. Man, what's this newspaper say? And it's telling you what happened in the school, and next thing you know, like previously before you read the newspaper, that was some background music playing. But after you're done reading it, you notice the music stops playing and it's all quiet. So I'm trying to go out. So I'm trying to leave out the room, and I notice the door is locked. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, what I do? I mean, I was beating hard, man. I'm like, what did I do? I thought it was just fooling me. I guess, don't read a newspaper. Admit it. Don't read a newspaper. And that's a lot. And that's another thing about the games is that you have to be really careful on what you do because the game will give you warnings.
Sorry.
They will warn you. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, the game they will warn you like about you see these certain notes. Something will happen if you something bad will happen if you read all say 6 or 7 notes. But
Yeah,
but you really don't take it seriously though
yeah, like
until it actually happens.
that's what happened to me when it was in chapter 2. I was like reading all these notes because this game like requires heavily on exploration stuff, and I'm like, okay, I might as well explore every little thing, read every
Mm.
little detail, the occasional survivor horror stuff.
Yeah.
And like when I got sent to the when I got teleported into the God, what to like the what was the west wing of the building or whatever, I was like, okay,
Yes.
one more note, and I'm gonna read that. All of a sudden, screen cuts to black, and then all of a sudden you hear weird stabbing noises, and the character you're playing as is like fucking dying. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. So what do I
Like,
do?
All right, but
like, I give a lot to this game for like being unique in ways of, it's going to get serious when the first person you kill off is the comic relief,
yeah,
Oh.
followed up by punishing you for being curious.
but back to the OVA itself. We don't want to get too
Oh
far
yeah.
off. Um,
Oh yes.
like the big there were some things like I was kind of surprised that they decided to go through with. The death of that one particular character whose name that you didn't want to mention, even though I did warn heavily on spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah. You going.
That happens at the end of chapter 2 in the video game. However, it was like different characters witnessed it. If you were in the video game, it was Ayumi and Morishige who reunites with Mayu, but in the OVA, it was the teacher. Now, I thought they were going to do something very interesting with this concept, because the teacher in the first video game, she does get a lot of backstory in Book of Shadows. I'll give them that much. But in the video game, she didn't do much. Like you only play as her for like 5 minutes, and then she gets a bookshelf chucked on her and gets a broken arm, and she disappears. She's like gone for a few chapters. She shows up either in the final chapter or the second or the second to last chapter, and then she freaking dies by via pitfall. And but in the but her character is that she like really cared for her students. She wanted to make sure they always came. She wanted them to come back safe and sound.
Very caring person.
Well,
Yes, but the thing that made that interesting is that I don't think she witnessed any of the students' deaths in the video games, or she never knew how to react upon it or anything. So I thought,
No.
well, you were saying no, yeah. So
Yeah, sure. She
I thought
never
you were
witnessed
gonna
favor.
I thought you were gonna call me out something.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you. Yeah, that's right. Never did witness any of her students or any of the other students' death.
Yeah. Well, in the OVA, she does. She sees this, and I thought they were gonna do something really interesting. I thought they were gonna focus a little more on her, to where she would like witness the student's death. Then she would probably like. I thought she had that moment of guilt when she saw Mayu get tore. I already gave her name. I don't care. When she got torpedoed into the wall. By the way, when they didn't show the final blast, which kind of disappointed me. But they showed how she was getting tossed, like, ow, dude, her head, ow, ooh.
No.
I
Yeah,
like,
I
dragged
fell on a
along the
treadmill.
floor.
I fell on a treadmill before. I know what it's like to have a really bad scrape.
Oh.
Yeah,
well, like,
just
like
not around the skull area. It was on the knees. But
the way I think about it though is how it brought up the fact that she saw the character's death, but they didn't do anything about it. Maybe that had something to do with the way she got whacked upside the head.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just like at the end of chapter 2, she gets a sledgehammer to the head, but then she escapes. But they never explain how she escaped or shown any of that. In fact, I don't think she was shown at all in the third episode out of the out of the four OVAs.
Yeah.
And then the minute you
She
see her again with Ayumi, she dies. But and
That was
out of all the deaths and changes that they made in this OVA, the way they handled Yui's is my least favorite because all of a sudden, like stuff, like the school was shaking, earth it was doing earth shattering earthquake again, and then something falls on her, and then she just immediately gets decapitated. That's it.
yeah, I agree with her death. Most of how freaking sudden it was, and like
Yes.
yeah, because in the games, in the game when she dies in the games, she does die like a very heroic because she dies saving Ayumi. She pushes her out the way, out of the pitfall, so she can be saved, but she ends up falling herself. But in this one, it's just it happened so fast. I'm like, dang man, yeah, this yeah, it could have been done so much better.
like I don't know if it was supposed to be ironic about how they handled it because it's like I'm going to give you a very emotional and uplifting speech. Clink.
Next thing you know,
Oh,
she died.
so they gave her the Samuel L. Jackson treatment. We will skate this. First thing we do is that we're gonna close this hole. Ah, shark!
Oh yeah, just suddenly, yeah, I want to die right as soon as I'm giving this very uplifting speech.
Just
Yeah,
like
but very
Yamcha and
much.
Team 4 Star DBZ Bridge. We're gonna beat these Saints. What? Uh,
But yeah, but another death I did want to I actually want to talk about a little bit was Yoshiki Kishinuma,
yeah,
the blonde hair, the delinquent.
yeah. One of the major characters who was actually
Mhm.
from the very first 1992 Corpse Party game. That's just discussing a whole thing in its entirety. But yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Go on.
Yeah, I did like this character when I was playing the game. He was, he can, sorry, he can actually survive at the end of the game. But in this one, just the fact that they decided to kill him off, I can see why they did, just to kind of keep me surprised. But I did not like that they decided to kill him off because I actually did like, I thought he was a pretty good character. Because he was the most real of everybody in the entire cast. Because, like, at one point in the game, him and Ayumi actually do get transported back to the real world. And he was like, oh, okay, we're out of this nightmare. But Ayumi's like, no, we got to go back in and save our friends. He's like, what? I'm not going back there. And, and then Ayumi kind of scolds him for, so how could you? And, how could you just abandon him? I'm like, well, Ayumi,
Why don't you tell us go back to
let's be
Camp
real.
Crystal Lake while you're at it?
Yeah, yeah. You might as well tell me to go back to, go back to Elm Street or Camp Crystal Lake. I mean, let's be real here. Let's just keep it real. You're asking him, hey, let's go back to the murderous, hellish world where like there is bodies littered all over the floor. You've seen our classmates splattered all over the place.
People losing their sanity by the minute
Minute, yeah,
who
people
are in
tend to
that
lose their
school.
minds. hmm People who doing that usually end up turning on each other and killing each other. You telling me, well, you asking me to go back. I love my friends, but can't I can't do it. And I I didn't blame him for not wanting to go back. Yeah, that is a very hard decision to make. You know,
Not to mention, like after you beat the game, and as well as some things about Book of Shadows, what you learn about the world and what the consequences of death are there.
mm,
Oh, dude, yeah. Just so you know, none of the endings of the game so far, even if you get the best canon ending, it is nowhere near a happy ending. There's no happy ending for this game. What are you, crazy? That's
Anything?
ridiculous.
Hey, you knew the game. Hey, you knew what was going to happen when you pick up this game.
You know, you will know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, you know.
not only that he died.
Mhm.
Um, Two things I just want to point out. A, his heroic moment of saving someone's life was actually all in vain. And two, he gets it the worst. He
Oh,
gets
Oh
man,
it
yeah.
bad.
tell me. Okay, I couldn't see all that. Oh, because it was very dark. But please tell me this what happened. He's holding a door back. He's already lost an eye at this point. He's like kind of holding a door back, but the zombie like teacher, tell me, does he like smash his fist through the door and through the back of it so that his hand is coming out of Yoshiki's mouth?
I'm starting to think he still had the knife, and that's how he managed to get through all of it. And then he just dropped the knife as soon as his hand went through.
Well, I just remember that he lost the eye, he blocked the door, but then the crazy zombie principal uh, stabbed him with hedge clippers or something. Yeah, it just stabbed him.
Hmm.
Man, I can't remember, but yeah, something fucked up
Oh yeah,
his
yeah. He
head.
stabbed him. He stabbed him through the stomach, and like his intestines just hanging out. Then he punches through the door, which his fist does go through the door, and his fist goes through Yoshiki's head, so like his hands are like showing out of his mouth.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck, man?
that was brutal. And then the follow up is got what is Satoshi's sister's death, Yuka, which damn.
Man, that was
Like,
dang.
prior to that, let's talk about Yuya for a second and how they handled Yuya,
All right.
which is kind of funny
Okay.
because
Oh yeah, okay. Run, rabbit, run.
like I don't know, I that Book of Shadows yet. I don't know how he plays out, but like I wasn't expecting his return and him looking like that. Like it's like I don't know if that's fully explained or not. I'm like, is he a ghost?
No,
Is he like
he
alive but missing half of his skin?
yeah, that's something that surprised me. For those for little details, in in the game, you play as Sadashi's sister for a while, and this is something this was something I was actually kind of creeped out by. Wait a minute, was it? Yeah, Kishinuma was the blonde guy. No,
Yeah.
Morishige was the dude with the glasses that took the cell phone pictures of the bodies, right?
Yes.
I think
Yes, yeah. I I would look this up on my computer, but the way I position my microphone and everything, it will make a lot of
yeah,
noise.
yeah, it's Morishige.
Yeah, my bad. I keep getting names mixed up. You know,
I
somebody's gonna pause this
You know
video
her.
and make a correction on the comments. That's gonna annoy me a little. Um, People comment before they fucking watch the video sometimes.
You're welcome.
Anyway, Morishige, the way they handled him was also a little different, but you encounter him as Yuka in the game, and he's just a little off. Now, I don't know what would have happened if this happened, but you actually had to run away from him. And I thought that was kind of creepy because the
Okay.
way the game's layered out, the way the game is structured out, it's like I said, top down side scroller, and then there's like different rooms, different sections and stuff. Well, he'll follow you everywhere, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
So, and then later in the game, you meet Yuya Kisame, and you thought this dude was like a really awesome guy, and you can actually get through other parts of the stage now because of his strength. Um, but then when Yuka like left to the bathroom and then he met one of his classmates, he fucking stabs that guy and kicks him into the bit hole like a fucking psychopath.
But in here, we kill two birds with one stone, or in this case, one bird.
Yeah, and then she learns that he's crazy, and then you have to run away from him. But what makes this even scarier is that he keeps shouting at you, and it's yeah, he'll just say
He's
stuff
very
like
disturbing stuff, man.
come out wherever you are," or your personal
He's like,
favorite quote, Lance, "Run, rabbits, run."
"Run, rabbits, run." That was a pretty funny line. But yeah, but he said some really disturbing stuff. Like, I think another line he was saying was like, "Hey, come back. I promise I'll kill you. Come here." He's like, and yeah, like it was even more disturbing. It's like even while you're running, the character Yuka you're playing as, even when you're running, you can still she's like crying a little bit. It's like she's panting, she's sniffling, she's crying. It's like yeah, they are doing everything. The developers of this game are doing whatever they can to just pull you in here.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that in the game she can live, but it's another spoiler. Yeah, she doesn't make it.
Yeah, and the in the OVA, but in the first video game, she actually makes it. Now, you don't see from him ever again. He gets a sledgehammer by the oh so infamous principal who could just sneak up on people and whack people with sledgehammer and just drag them off. Now, I thought it was going to play out the same way in the OVA, and that she would be and that Yuka would actually be screwed over by Sachiko because this is when they didn't realize that a girl running around in red dress is they didn't think much of her. They thought she was the most harmless thing out there, but it turns out she is an evil bitch. Now,
Oh, yeah.
now then she freaking encounters Kazami, and he is losing half his skin. Like,
I don't know.
and he's still functioning. And I'm like, what the fuck? How are you even alive?
I guess
Why
he
are
was
you
half
acting?
Titan.
He was half Titan. But
I'm like, and he's just walking around like nothing's happened. I'm like, dude, you're walking around with half your skin missing. How are you just walking around still just, hey,
and we literally mean it, half of it. Like he looks like one of those anatomy displays in your science class, except more
exactly.
bloodier.
I'm just still walking around, just walking out. I'm like, oh, how he's still functioning? I don't know.
But he
Yeah, man.
manages to
Then
capture Yuka and fucking tortures her, stabs her eye out, which makes me squeamish, and
yeah,
it's
that's
all
what I
kinds of
stabbing in
fucked
this
up. And then
OVA.
she could, and then Kasami, like this is the okay. I kind of cheered on this one, but Kishinuma fucking comes in with a baseball bat, whacks him upside the head till his head came popped right off. I'm like,
That was
yes,
that was a clean hit, one swing, instant decapitation.
swing the bats. I don't know if you actually heard that.
Yeah, swinging the bat.
Wow, this
That Foley
microphone's
Cody
really
reference.
good. Just.
Very, very worth it, man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it's like
Oh, we didn't
that was
mention.
another thing where I like. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't mention the other thing about Morishige. In the video game, he was already kind of he was weird because he kept taking photos of dead bodies and stuff because apparently that's how he coped with the stress of being in the haunted school. That seeing dead
Hmm.
bodies would like make him regain his sanity. He also took a photo of Mayu's corpse chunk and he didn't know it was
You
Mayu. And
bitch.
by the way, he has a thing. Apparently, he has a crush on her. And when he finds out it was Mayu's corpse via cell phone call by Mayu herself, he flips out. Well, you hear this, but you don't see this. But he flips out, runs frantically out of a window, and just drops to his death outside. He just jumped out. He's like, "Fuck this." In the OVA, he finds out, and instead of doing that, he just takes a crowbar and starts beating up on corpses or maybe living people that he just happened to find and just beat them to death. And he's just gone off the fucking deep end. It wasn't until Kazami stabbed him in the neck, which, by the way, very detailed, very close up neck stabbing,
Oh,
that hurt watching.
oh God. No, because when people when Starscream says detailed, he means detailed. Not only did he stab him, but close up, you see the knife actually go in, and you see that Yuya actually once he has the knife in his neck, he actually twists it. He
Yeah.
twists the
Yeah.
knife. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh,
Oh man, this is Gantz got nothing on this.
I
Man,
still haven't seen Gantz.
it's
I still do not care for it at this moment. um, I think, yeah, we covered about almost all the episodes, except for the final one. Okay, so
Mhm.
Yuka dies, and the heart feels
And the butt
it,
feels.
and the blood feels. Yeah, what Lance said. I'm actually
Yeah.
surprised Satoshi even cared enough about moving on, or maybe he didn't, which will lead to the ending. Um, maybe, but the final chapter plays almost like the final chapter of the video game. Go to a creepy underground, find Satoshi's doll, whatever. They find out that she's doing this because she witnessed the death of her mother. Which, by the way, ow,
Mm.
God,
Oh God,
be careful when going down the stairs. Can't stress that any
yes.
more enough. Uh,
Yeah, and we also forgot the intro to episode 4. We actually get to see what we weren't able to see in the game
oh yeah,
with that video clip.
Oh,
yeah. In the video game, there's a subplot that revolves where this student from a different school named Nahu, she's like interacting with the other characters, and she claims to be she's like a person who died in this school, whatever, and she was the one who posted the Sachiko Ever After charm blog that Ayumi herself saw that she wanted to use on the school in Kisaragi Academy. But it was later revealed that she actually left out a very important detail, and that's why everyone got fucking transported to those haunted schools and died on their deaths. Because it wasn't just that academy. In the video game, you pick up name tags of dead students, and there's even some chapters that show other students who got transported into the school. We already mentioned that we already know this through Kisame, who was the only character not from Kisaragi Academy to actually show up in this OVA.
Don't forget about episode 2's intro.
I forgot what. Oh yeah, episode two's intro showed the montage of everyone else getting fucked up. Um,
It's like these characters are unimportant. Let's just have a nice little death montage.
yep. Um, I lost my train of thought, guys.
yeah. We were still talking
We
about
Oh yeah,
the
oh yeah,
ending.
Naho. Well, anyway, they kind of, well, her turns out her teacher was that her, yeah, her
Her
sensei,
senpai,
or
or
senpai,
I think,
sensei. She called her sensei in the
yeah.
movie. Could be. He was doing some research on this haunted school and stuff, and it turns out he's been doing pretty well with it too. He even apparently he went in there and even escaped, like at least maybe once, maybe a few more times, but I think it was once. But and he was doing fine. But then she went to school, and then she freaking like killed him. You don't see it, you just hear it in the video game. Here, you actually witness this through the videotape that everyone was watching. Um, yeah, totally strangled the shit out of him.
Mm.
Yeah, the idea that they actually showed the tapes made the OVA that much better,
Yes,
including
though
everyone's favorite headshot.
though I must ask, how did the camera get such good camera angles when they showed Naomi hanging Seiko?
Well, if you're a ghost, you can float. They never really explained the
Yeah, they
vengeful
never
spirits thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the cameraman character was nowhere to be found in the OVA. In the video game, he was there. He was like running around frantically when you see him, and when he took a glance at Naomi, he flips the fuck out and runs away. And you actually find out why through witnessing that video cam tape. The cameraman's recorded all that, and he's like, "Oh fuck this! I gotta get away from her."
Holy
Um,
shit.
so yeah, that's I don't know if that would count as a plot hole in the OVA.
It, well,
Kind of
it counts as a
does.
plot hole because it's a tape that they found that somehow that has the footage of Naomi killing Seiko, and it's an actual physical actual physical tape. Somebody
Somebody
must have
recorded
recorded
this.
this, but they don't explain who recorded it. Now in the games, you know who recorded it. It was the cameraman character, but in the OVA, he's non-existent.
Yeah,
So yeah, that would count as a plot hole.
yeah,
Well, maybe he just died in episode 2.
could be. Because he doesn't make it out alive, obviously. But what else about that episode? We already mentioned Yui's very uh unfortunate death in terms of both her character and writing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I do give
I
Jordan.
think we cover all the characters.
I'll give Windsor this much. Um, yeah, it probably would have been a bit too predictable, but at the same time, the way they handle it, man, I was shit. I don't know.
Would have.
They could have.
I'm glad they went this route. I didn't like some of the changes, most because I'm biased a little, and I didn't like some of these
Oh,
characters, but I'm glad they went this way.
I'm
you know
actually
what it would have been? You know what would have been really ironic and hilarious though?
what?
If instead of just a support beam falling on her and decapitating her towards the end, it was a bookcase.
Yeah, that would
Um,
actually. Oh, hold on, I'm just adjusting myself. Yeah, I can actually see that. That would make a little more sense because a bookcase did fucking fall on her in chapter two. Could have went with that
It,
theme.
it would have been like, here's the scene, here's where things, here she falls through the floor. Bookcase from earlier chapter falls on top of her instead.
um, but I'm gonna go off on a side note and talk about my thoughts on adaptations and changes. I am actually for changes because um while it depends on the changes really. Most I noticed that when most fans complain about changes about regarding adaptations, and I'm quoting Multifire here because he told me this as well because he and I started to agree on this. Fans seem to pick and choose on the faithfulness of the source material. Um, they'll let a lot of shit of Bane from Dark Knight Rises get away. They'll allow a lot of what happened to him to get away, but any like slight tweakings on another character, they'll go on a frantic rage. But as for me, when it comes to changes, I don't mind changes as long as like certain themes and people characterizations like stay intact because again, it keeps the experience fresh for me. Keeps it new, keeps it interesting. Like why would I want to watch an anime that follows the manga shot by shot, page by page, when I could just read the manga at my own pace. And I'm a pretty
and the
fast
manga
reader.
usually
I'm a
and the manga is usually more detailed than the anime.
Yeah, like I could just read the manga at my own pace, um, and you know get basically the same experience. Oh, I get to lose sound and voice acting. Well, that's what my well not yeah I get to lose sound, voice acting, and color, but I can use my imagination to fill those blanks easily.
Oh yeah, I think yeah. Some people they don't like to use their imagination.
Yeah, use your imagination.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't mind. No, for me, when it comes to adaptations, it's pretty much the same. I share the same views as you, Billy. I don't mind changes either, as long it's it's for good reasons. like for this, like for the course part, for example, prime example. If they made an OVA based on the games and they did like like they got it pretty much copy it straight from the games, then I would kind of get bored with it actually because I actually know what's going to happen. I know this character is going to die. I know this character is going to live. So at this point, it would be kind of pointless for me to watch it because he's like, hey, I already know what's going to happen. I'll just stick to playing the games.
Hmm. Any thoughts on anything else you want to add into Windsor about adaptations and changes in your perspective on it?
Well, it's just kind of weird for me to bring up since you have it, but like, it's the same reason. Like, I guess for someone who has played both, it's fine. But if someone hasn't played the original but wants to, it would be kind of like spoilerific. I guess the good example would be comparing the Danganronpa anime. It is the same as the game, so if you watch it, you're going to know everything that happens in the game and ruins it for you.
Hence why I'm avoiding it until the game comes out.
Oh, dang, he's still got a long way to go till it comes out though.
Yeah. Don't worry, that year, 2014 will creep up on us. I mean, it's already September. It's going to be 2014 soon. Just have to have patience. I see what you
No.
mean. Like, and it would make sense if I could like I could recommend Persona 4 the animation to somebody who hates JRPGs because it's the same story, same characterizations. They do a little more in the anime. I would totally say, look, okay, maybe the gameplays of JRPGs aren't your thing, but this story's really good. I really recommend checking out the anime at the very least, or something along the lines of that. Or maybe if they do check out the adaptation, um, they might be motivated to check out the original source material.
Mhm.
After seeing Elfen Lied and being unsatisfied with its conclusion, I wanted to read the manga oh so badly.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Corpse Party. What else happened? I think everything else plays out the same. They learn about Sachiko's mother. They tried to do the final appeasement, have her confess, blah blah blah. They show a
Mhm.
flashback of how Sachiko died while playing very inappropriate music. As you pointed out before, Windsor. Um, but yeah, they had to
I actually
put
did watch. Oh,
they had to put in one last surprise for people who already played the game. They just had to put in
yes.
one last surprise. So they got their appeasement. Now they have to get out of the school. Otherwise, everything will just reset itself. Um, so they finally got their charms, but it turns out Naomi had a paper. She lost her paper charm, and she found a random one, and and Satoshi notices this, and he's like, "Here, just take mine." And he's like, "But what about your charm?" He's like, "It's okay, I got Yuka's charm." And so they do the ritual, and then they got teleported back. But before they show them back to the original school, they show the student ID of Yuya Kasami, and then they teleport back to Kisaragi Academy, but it's just Ayumi and Naomi, and each of them are holding a severed arm of Sachishi. Cut to credits.
Uh, I'm like, what the hell? And
There's
I
your
actually
ending.
came up and actually got a theory what may have happened. I think what it was is that Satoshi got teleported too. It's just that hit the red, like Ayumi and Naomi got his arms, but I think the rest of his body
Sorry.
must be like back at Yuya's.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought too, because again, the way it works is that you're gonna have to explain those severed arms if somebody finds them. But maybe
Yeah.
his body did get transported to where Yuya was, or maybe it just didn't get transported at all, and he's left to die at Heavenly Host. That's the other
I
theory
have
I have.
I have another theory,
All
and
right.
this one got brought up because Like, he goes in knowing this is going to happen. He wasn't like, oh yeah, it's like we don't know what'll happen. He knew what would happen because he specifically asked one of the children prior to that scene. Hey, what happens if you use that? So this is my theory. You have to have a piece of paper that's from someone who didn't die.
Huh.
Okay.
Now, reasons for him
It,
doing it. I honestly think that he really didn't want to continue living after the death of his sister.
that or he just wanted to protect Naomi one last time.
Yeah, that too.
So he was you think he
Because
willingly sacrificed himself?
love makes men do stupid shit all the time. I mean, we've learned that from Kishinuma. It's like you you didn't want to go back to that school and you did anyways, and
Mhm.
look at you now.
We we learned like I was essentially trying to like pin it. I'm like, there are 5 survivors in the original gang.
Yep.
We could make a Scooby Doo joke somewhere. And I kept putting Kashuma as Freddy, but in all actuality, he was more like Shaggy.
Yeah, he was kind
He
of
was
shaggy,
like,
but
I'm not going to go back. If anyone was Freddy, it was Satoshi, which
yeah.
would make Naomi Daphne, which makes a lot of sense. And Yuka can be Scooby.
The mascot, the cute little mascot. But that's another reason why I like Kishinuma, because when he did go back, his reward wasn't death. His reward was, hey, you still get to live. You know, hey. But yeah, that's a very interesting theory, Windsor. I never thought of it like that. You know, you gotta have a piece of you gotta have a piece of the charm that belonged to a person who was
Still alive.
I didn't really think about. I didn't really think about. I didn't really think about it like that.
It was sort of like, why would his charm work for her? Like, it was, I mean, it could be the whole they had to have one of the original pieces. That could have worked too, but then they could have also just picked them off of any of the dead bodies of their friends that were around. They could have ran and got the teacher's piece.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess they're like, we're almost out of time.
Now,
Can't think.
I kind of didn't like how the ending itself felt even more rushed because, okay, so they showed that and cut to credits, which, you know, I don't know, depending on who you are, may not have benefited enough, but they do have a post-credit scene, and if for those who aren't familiar with the video game, will probably be scratching their heads, going, "What the hell's going on?" Well, the post-credit scene is actually a bonus opening scene of Corpse Party Book of Shadows if you have a save file of the original game, I believe. Um, or you might just have that already to begin with, but I heard that was like one of the rewards you get just for playing the first game. And that scene was um, apparently Naomi is like psychologically screwed up because not only is her friend dead, but no one knows who the hell she's talking about. This is why you could probably never get a happy ending with this franchise, because this is just some hard nails for you to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
When in the original in the video game, when the survivors were survived, they all were going home, but they were like, you know, a lot of people in our class died back there, and they died pretty brutally. It's going to be hard to explain to the rest of the world, but the next day, no one knows no one knows who went to who haven't went to Heavenly Host knows what they're talking about. They act
Oh,
they act as if the teacher Yui never existed. Morishige never existed. Mayu never existed. Seiko never existed. No, it's like they were retcon. They were literally retconned out of existence.
yeah, and that was really messed. I'm like, wow, that's no, that shouldn't really affect me as much, but dang, that's pretty cruel.
Oh, it
You know,
gets worse. In Book of Shadows, for those who died in the school, they can relive that fucked up tragedy over and over and over again. And if you try to like avert their fate, guess what? You just can't. They'll just end up. They'll just end up getting it worse. Chapter 1, Book of Shadows, replays Naomi's little adventure with Seiko. Except Naomi started to get like flashbacks or flash forwards of that Seiko was going to die, but she didn't know. She didn't know she was the cause of it yet. So she saw Seiko getting hanged, but she's like, "Oh, I can save her," and she does. But Seiko is so freaked out by Naomi, she runs away. But a piano wire that was like tied downstairs was being placed. Seiko got her head chopped off. Yeah.
So even if you do, trying to change their fate, something does happen where you're going to get killed.
You know, I always thought school was hell. But this just makes it the most literal thing possible.
Yeah, should we bring up Mayu's?
Oh, if you're talking, are you talking Book of Shadows?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if he was a colonel or a lieutenant, but Rhodes from Day of the Dead. Remember how he died? Yeah, kind of like that with Mayu. Except Mayu did.
Ripped apart.
Except Mayu didn't have the stones to say choke on them.
Choke on it. Choke on it.
No, dude, she gets slowly ripped apart, dude. Oh.
And don't forget, girl goes splat here.
Tomato. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If I was a Mortal Kombat character, I want that to be my fatality.
Just summon like a bunch of zombies or ghosts and just have
No, the first one. Where I just like either swing a person into a wall as hard as I can until they fucking splat like a tomato and just nothing but organs and blood on the wall. Like that would be my fatality. Just toss them.
The ultimate judo throw.
Yes.
They ultimate judo throw.
Sagata Sanshiro. Now that was a judo throw.
Oh god.
So, anything else to add? Because I think we're close to the end.
Yeah, I mean, we've pretty much talked about everything at this point. I can't think of any other hidden Easter eggs laid out in here.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. We already gave
good opening.
We gave our opinions of the OVAs. So we all, even with our little problems with it, we all generally enjoyed it. How much are the video games? God, I can't remember how much I bought them for.
Affordable, I know that.
Yeah, I know. Like they're not godly expensive. You can buy. I think they're $20 each. I believe
the games were like $20.
Yeah, like $40. That's the average price of a PS Vita game, anyways. So if you have a PS Vita, I know a whole lot of people don't. Mm-hmm. I suggest you check out these games and download them. Play the first one first. The second game actually drops the free roaming top down thing in favor of like this weird. It plays more like a PC puzzle adventure game. The second one does. Yeah, you explore different sections, and then you look at the artwork, and then you like use a little mouse scroll to like investigate items and stuff.
Yeah, something about that, yeah.
But there's a lot more visual novel elements in Book of Shadows than there is in the first game. And it's been announced that the third title, Corpse Party Blood Drive, is coming to the PS Vita, and there's a good 70-80% chance that it might get localized here. Because I didn't even know Book of Shadows was getting localized here. In fact, it got released this February?
It was very recent.
Yeah. Like I didn't even know it was coming out until Windsor's was like, "Hey, have you finished Corpse Party yet?" No, why? There's this Book of Shadows is coming out. I'm like, really? Shit, I gotta wrap this up. And I gotta wrap up Book of Shadows as well.
Also, to be
I didn't
honest,
finish. I
these
didn't get Book of
OVAs
Shadows.
came out of nowhere for me. I was like, man, I forgot these were a thing. Just like drops out of the table.
Yeah, I was the same way too. I knew it was coming out. Then, like, I was just on the internet, and someone had already posted a review on the OVAs. I'm like, what? It's already out. So I completely forgot.
Yeah, I
So yeah, I
saw
went
I, I
ahead.
saw I saw the OVAs when look at the catalog. I'm like, holy crap, it's getting an because I heard it has another anime adaptation prior to this. I'm like, holy crap, how big is this franchise growing to be? Because when I saw Corpse Party, I thought it was just like a one-shot title, but then when I did research onto it, because that's how I as a fan work. Um, like I try something out, I'll look into it more online, and then I'll discover more new interesting things that'll keep me hooked. But I find out it turns out it's been around since 1992. Um, there was a game before the versions that we have. The games that we actually have localized here are called Corpse Party Blood Covered. Um, it's actually a reboot of I believe the game was originally made in 1992 or 1994, but it was like a reboot of a PCFX game that was custom made with some interesting little engine tool. I've looked this all up in its little dedicated wiki page, which is actually well designed. Um, so yeah, I was like, wow, how fast is this franchise growing? How big is it? I
It's
know
blowing up right now,
it,
man. I'm surprised. I mean, and it's still considered pretty obscure.
yeah, I don't think it's that big, but it's
I
big,
consider it kind of obscure.
but its fan base must be like Dark Souls level of dedication for it to get an OVA adaptation, a third sequel, and there's a Corpse Party 2 that's coming out for PC, um, which goes back to basics with the first game, except everything's cell shaded CG, and I think it takes place in a haunted hospital. Yeah,
Hmm.
Mm.
yeah. So those are my thoughts about Corpse Party, the OVA, and the franchise in general. Yeah, it's pretty dark. But I usually do aim for lighthearted stuff with anime, but sometimes I would like to get a taste of the darker side of things. Um,
Hmm.
like Higurashi, School Days, the Corpse Party. I can usually take about I can usually take it's you you know what I mean. I can't.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, we get it. I'll check out a dark series every once in a while. That's what I'm trying to say.
it.
Gotta practice on improving.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
So
all.
yeah, if you actually stayed in this series, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Um. Well, you got anything else to say? You first, because I'm like ready to wrap it up.
Okay, man. I don't got that much to say except this is a very interesting franchise. You still, even though you saw through the spoilers and you still want to play the games, yeah. I'll say I'll say just play the games, just to experience them, just
Mm-hmm.
to experience it. Excuse me. Yeah, but it's a very very good game. It's just it will put you in it will scare you good. That's all I say. I say check it out. Definitely check it out.
Windsor, your final words.
Um, it's nice to get a good horror genre game after all this time, like one that's genuinely about horror and mystery.
Oh yeah, that's
Because it
another
seems
thing.
very few and far between in this day and age. And that's why I think one of the reasons it's so popular is because of how rare its kind is at the moment.
Yeah, actual survival horror games have like receded back into indie development as of late. Like when your best survival horror game is a really weird sprite game. God, what was it called? The Lone Survivor. When a Lone Survivor is considered a survival horror game more than Resident Evil 5 or the latest Silent Hill, something wrong with the mainstream department. They just apparently don't know what makes a survival horror anymore. So yeah,
Like,
No.
like on that note, it seems like most of the horror games that are getting popular are like these 16-bit adventures that are either made by professionals or made in RPG Maker.
hmm,
Like,
that's all you gotta say.
yeah.
All right, and I got nothing else to say. Uh, I'm gonna try to finish Book of Shadows by this year. Hopefully, it'll get me ready for yeah, blood for the next installment, Blood Drive. All right, this is Darkscream217 signing out.
All right, take care, guys.
Later.